539 BC Army of Cyrus the Great of Persia takes Babylon. 633 Battle of Hatfield Chase. King Edwin of Northumbrian defeated and killed by an alliance of Welsh kingdom Gwynedd led by Cadwallon ap Cadfan, and Mercia led by Pender. 638 Honorius I ends his reign as Catholic Pope, Pope Severinus elected. 642 John Roman IV ends his reign as Catholic Pope. In 1160 Maurice de Sully is elected Bishop of Carys, will initiate plan to build Notre Dame. In 1165 Jewish rabbi and philosopher Moses ben Maimon Acher Maimonides or the Rambam reaches Jerusalem. In 1216 King John of England loses his crown jewels in the wash as the flood tide swamps his wagons, probably near Fosdyke, perhaps near Sutton Bridge. In 1279 Nichiren, a Japanese Buddhist monk, founder of Nichiren Buddhism, inscribes the Daigo Honsen. 1285 180 Jews burned to death as synagogue in which they are hiding set ablaze by mob of Christians in retribution for alleged crime of blood libel, ritualistic bloodletting from a kidnapped child, in Munich, Duchy of Upper Bavaria, Holy Roman Empire. In 1366 King Frederik III of Sicily forbids decorations on synagogues. In 1398 the Treaty of Salynas is signed between Grand Duke of Lithuania Vytautas the Great and the Teutonic Knights, who received Samardischer. In 1459 battle at Ludford Bridge, Richard of York defeated. Columbus lands in the Caribbean. 1492 Christopher Columbus's expedition makes landfall on a Caribbean island he names San Salvador, likely Watling Island, Hammers. The explorer believes he has reached East Asia OS 21 Oct. In 1492 crewmen on Pintersites land a few weeks early. In 1492 Flemish rebel leader Philip van Kleef surrenders. Last will of Isabella I 1504 Queen Isabella I of Spain signs her last will and testament, instructing her descendants to treat indigenous Americans well and fairly. In 1518 papal envoy Cardinal Thomas Cajetan interrogates Martin Luther in Augsburg in a failed attempt to persuade Luther to revoke his theses. In 1549 John Dudley, Earl of Warwick, forces the Duke of Somerset out of his office as Lord Protector. In 1609 Children's Rhyme, Three Blind Mice is published in London in a book edited by and possibly written by Thomas Ravenscroft. In 1654 the Delft Explosion gunpowder devastates the city of Delft in the Netherlands, killing more than 100 people. In 1659 English Rump Parliament dismisses John Lambert and other parliamentary generals. Emperor Charles I 1711 Charles I is crowned Holy Roman Emperor in Frankfurt. In 1729 William Roman IV Prince of Orange installed as Stadtholder of Gelderland. In 1730 Christian VI succeeds Frederik IV as King of Denmark. Great Awakening 1740 English evangelist George Whitefield preaches to 30,000 people in Boston in the US during the Great Awakening. In 1773 America's first asylum opens for persons of insane and disordered minds in Virginia. In 1776 British Brigade begins guarding Throgg Necks Road in Bronx. Louis Roman XVI's secret correspondence. 1789 French Revolution. King Louis Roman XVI writes secretly to the King of Spain about complaining of harsh treatment. The Count of Artois writes to the Austrian king requesting military intervention in France. In 1792 first celebration of Columbus Day in the USA is held in New York. In 1798 Flemish uprising against French-occupied Borencraig. In 1798 Friedrich von Schiller's play Wallensteins Lager premieres in Weimar. Event of Interest. 1815 ex-king of Naples Joachim Murat is sentenced to death for treason. In 1822 second eruption of Galangon in Java destroys summit of mountain. Empire of Brazil. 1822 the Empire of Brazil is inaugurated, and Prince Pedro of Portugal is proclaimed Emperor Dom Pedro I on his 24th birthday. In 1823 Charles Mackintosh of Scotland begins selling raincoats Max. 1836 18 of snow falls in Bridgewater, NY. In 1853 John Morrissey wins boxing title, when Yankee Sullivan leaves ring after 36th round to slug Morrissey's fans. In 1854 Ashman Institute later Lincoln University opens near Oxford, Pennsylvania. Emperor Norton abolishes Congress 1859. Self-proclaimed Emperor of the USA, Emperor Norton issues edict abolishing the US Congress. In 1860, British-French troops capture Beijing. In 1861, Confederate ironclad Manassas attack Union S. Richmond on Mississippi. In 1862, Major General Earl Van Dorn assumes command of Confederate troops in Mississippi. In 1862, skirmish at Monocacy, Maryland. Brazil invades Uruguay. 1864, Brazilian troops under the command of Gen. João Proximo Miner Barreto invade Uruguay in a prelude to the War of the Triple Alliance. In 1871, U.S. President Grant condemns Ku Klux Klan. In 1872, Montreal Football Club first game playing Quebec City to 0-0 tie. In 1879, British troops occupy Kabul, Afghanistan. In 1881, Henry M. Stanley signs contract with Congo Monarch. In 1886, Hurricane Sea surge kills 250 at Indianola, Texas. In 1891, Astronomical Society of France is inaugurated. In 1892, U.S. Pledge of Allegiance first recited in public schools during Columbus Day. In 1898, establishment of the first town council in Mature. In 1899, South Africa Boer Republic declares war on Britain. In 1900, first modern submarine is commissioned by the U.S. Navy as the USS Holland, named for its designer John Philip Holland. In 1903, Lyric Theatre opens at 213 W 42nd St. NYC. In 1914, the First Battle of Ypres begins. Execution of Edith Cavell. 1915, despite international protest, Edith Cavell, an English nurse in Belgium, is executed by the Germans for aiding the escape of Allied prisoners. In 1915, Ford Motor Company under Henry Ford manufactures its 1 millionth automobile at the River Rouge plant in Detroit. In 1915, Theodore Roosevelt criticizes U.S. citizens who identify themselves with dual nationalities. In 1918, Cloquet fire kills 453 and injures or displaces 52,000.